folks. Welcome back to The Secret Place with Stepha. I am always glad that you've shown up, that you've clicked the video, and that you've listened and joined me here in my ponderings and musings and reflections and prayers and confessions sometimes. Well, I'm on a roll with David Benner. If you listened last time, you know that I spoke about his book, The Gift of Being Yourself, David G. Benner. I'm going to talk about that again today. There's so much in here, and it's really ministering deeply to my soul. It's like I've been through so much of this before. It's over and over. I feel like it's that onion skin, right? I feel like it's peeling away more and more, getting to the core of the truth. And so I'm just going to share it with you. Let's say we're talking about knowledge today, and he says this on page 24. Not all knowledge transforms. Some merely puffs up like an overfilled balloon. And you know what happens to overfilled balloons. Self-knowledge that is pursued apart from knowing our identity in relationship with God easily leads to self-inflation. This is the puffed up, grandiose self Paul warns about in 1 Corinthians 8:1, an arrogance to which we are vulnerable when knowledge is valued more than love. It can also lead to self-preoccupation unless we spend as much time looking at God as we spend looking at ourselves. Or our knowing of ourselves will simply draw us further and further into abyss of self-fixation. One more sentence here. But it's also quite possible to be stuffed with knowledge about God that does nothing to help us genuinely know either God or self. Having information about God is no more transformational than having information about love. Theories and ideas about God can sit in sturdy storage canisters in our mind and do absolutely no good. If you doubt this, recall Jesus' harsh words for the religious leaders of his day who knew God, who knew God's law, but did not know God's heart. Huh. Really, when Benner says, recall Jesus' harsh words, I thought to myself immediately, there's only one place in the whole of Scripture, in his whole 3.5-year ministry, where I can recall anything was recorded that we could conceive of as harsh. And that's that place where he judged. He spoke to those people who walked around with like essentially a badge, you know, their robes and accoutrements of religion, hierarchical accoutrements of religion, to try to show their worth because they knew so much about God. I mean, this is so important, this idea that all knowledge does not transform. When I say transform, what am I talking about? I'm talking about not becoming someone who you're not changing into someone else, but becoming the best you and the best me that we can be. That involves so much inner work. Much of the inner work, some of the inner work is done, I think, for some people in a flash. Like as we seek God, have you had a friend, or maybe it's you, who has started in the recovery movement and just kind of laid it all out there before their higher power, laid it all out there before God, and said, I can't stop doing this, whatever their besetting sin or affliction was, whether it be drugs or alcohol or whatever, and they just started coming to meetings and gave it to God and surrendered it, and it seemed like that was it. Like they were fine, and they started that work towards a transformation where they're not someone else, but they stop being a drunk, or they stop being controlled by passions, stop being controlled by their addictions. That's transformation. Now, honestly, to be quite honest, I think most transformation, in fact, I think most people would agree with me too, most transformation takes place. It takes place over time. It takes place growing slowly, changing slowly. Attitudes change, then some behaviors change, or behaviors change and attitudes change. It's a wonderful field, psychology is, but when you look at how God, I'm going to say, touches our psyche, touches our psychology, changes up our mind, renews our mind is what the scripture calls it, actually in Romans 12, renews our mind. He transforms us by that renewing of our mind. And we don't get that by just, just by gathering knowledge. We don't get that by gathering information and then having this knowledge. And if you doubt that, I think you probably wouldn't doubt it, because I think this is common to all of us. We can read all the books we want about love, right? But that doesn't mean that we're experiencing love. We can read all the books we want about God. That doesn't mean we're experiencing God. And so for that knowledge to be transformative, it requires many of the things that we've been talking about in the secret place over these last bunch of years that we've just touched upon in these little few minutes together, right? Like surrender, like laying down our desires, laying down maybe our dreams, laying down our afflictions, laying down our poor health, whatever it is that's afflicting us or besetting us or giving us a problem, whatever is frustrating us, taking that frustration, talking to the Lord about it. I like the picture of laying it down at his feet, and letting the Lord order our steps, letting him deal with those things of this world that are so important to us. And they are important to us because he has made us in this world, and they're not insignificant. They're not worthless things. There are more important things than the things of this world, but we are in the world. We are in the world. You are in the world, and you have issues that need to be dealt with. I have things that need to be dealt with, needs, physical needs, spiritual needs, emotional needs. These are real. Denying them or trying to put our head in the sand does not help at all. It does not help. It does not transform us. What did he say that I just read here? That, it's turning our focus and gazing upon God and seeking him more than we focus on what's going on in our own lives. Focusing on God to show us the way, to show us the answer. That's what he's good at. That's why we need to leave it with him. So often we just need to leave it with him. Confess it, speak it out, discuss it, give breath to it. In other words, don't stuff what's going on. Let's not pretend that all is well, all is well. But then in that, give it to God. Give it to God. Oh my. That's transformative knowledge. That's when knowledge can really transform us. And if we're thinking about the need to transform any part of this world, whether it's an organization we're in, a family, a relationship, if that needs transformation too, then we need to start with ourselves. We need to start with the transforming knowledge for ourselves to transform us. I hope you've enjoyed David Benner, and that you'll gain as much from this little book and this trilogy that he has there about the sacred call to self-discovery, and understanding that it is a sacred call. Self-discovery is a sacred call. Someone may be listening right now and said, that's it, I'm turning her off. She doesn't know what sacred is. And self-discovery, who cares about that? What is that going to mean in the end? Well, I'm not talking about what it means in the end. Today, I'm talking to you and myself about what it means for us right now. We are human beings. We have bodies. We have a heart, a soul, a mind. And we need to live in this world in a way that is purposeful and honorable and responsible. And we cannot do that by remaining closed like this to transformation and just try to accrue knowledge. Nope, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But look to God. Let's look to God. And let's let him, the knowledge of God, transform each of us. Okay? I hope you have a great day and a good week. And I hope you will come back to the secret place and share these few moments with me. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye now.